Okay, we need to make a front as well. So I had enough left over from my long piece for my sides. I'm going to make a front out of it. I'm going to cut a quick 45 on this. Again, if you need to grab that example box, grab it so you can visualize your 45s. But I'm just going to draw a quick line here so I remember which way I'm going. Again, it's not the most accurate line, but when you go to the saw, you know which angle you're going to cut. It just kind of helps you with that. So swing it back to 45, make a quick reference cut here. And then from that sharp edge, I'm going to measure 11.5 down and then make a cut there. This is the hardest cut of the project here as far as the 45s go. Let me show you how I'm going to lay this out. So I first start by drawing a line from this point right there down 11.5 to right there. And then I'm going to use my square and extend that line to both sides. So just like you always used to do, and just make sure your pencil's on the line. And then draw your line up, draw your line down. My square is not long enough, so I got to flip it over. And then, so right there I got my line, just a quick line. What I'm going to do is draw my 45 like this, nice and accurate. I'll do that kind of fast here, but I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to use my square, which also has a 45-degree angle on it right there. And I'm going to hold it just like this so I can transfer that line. Let me see if I can show you that better. I'm going to transfer that line from here, swipe it backwards like that. And we'll do that on both sides. That way when I go to the saw, I have a better chance of having everything line up so I don't have to walk back and forth and get measurements and stuff. So let me show you what this looks like here. So we have that line that wraps around like that. So when I make a cut at the saw, I'm ready to go. Something kind of funky happened there. See how my line's kind of bigger than the cut, or vice versa? I'm going to try to trim that off a little bit. It seemed to follow a little bit better. Still is not quite right. I don't want to stop the video and figure out what's going on here, but we'll see if it all lines up. If it doesn't, we'll make adjustments later. Okay, so now we got to make some rabbets. To do that, we're going to go back to the table saw and show you that. I just dropped the mic. Let me show you what that process looks like. So it's going to be kind of a different operation than you're used to using. We're going to be using the miter gauge here. And we're going to drop this miter gauge into the miter slot of the table saw so it looks like this. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going to make a little groove, right? A little rabbet, they call that. Right here, where's the camera? Oh, here it is. Right there's a little L cut right there. This is going to make a lot more sense in a second. So I'm going to set my blade for 1/4 of an inch high, which it already is set from my last operation. And then I'm going to set the fence a 1/2 inch away from the outside of the blade. I'm always telling you to measure the inside of the blade. On this particular operation, we're going to measure the outside of the blade. So that means, again, the outside is right here, the inside is inside of here. So we're going to measure the outside of the blade a 1/2 inch. Another way you can think about that is the thickness of the back piece there. So let me get that set at a 1/2 inch. And then I'll make my cut. It probably wouldn't hurt me to do a little test cut, but I'm gonna just go for it here across my fingers. So I made that cut right there. And what I'll do is it's gonna nibble away the rest. I'm just working it in there, back and forth. So I'm almost there. I just gotta get that little area trimmed away. And we'll clean that up with a little chisel later. So the back should fit in there. So I gotta take a little bit more off. So what happened was, if you look right here, the back is a little bit taller than the side. I want it the opposite. So I'm gonna scoot my fence in a little bit more. And again, if you have some scrap boards, play around with it. That's good. So I'll do my other side. So these are the L's I was talking about, the L shape. So what that does, it's going to allow us to fit our back kind of snugly in there, create a little home for our back. Next, what I'll do is grab a chisel and I'll clean up those little lines that I left from the table saw, so we can have that back fit in a little tighter. I don't know if this mic can reach all the way over there. 15 feet, I guess so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just take my chisel and scrape off those little lines left from the table saw. And I'll put this in a vise. You can clamp it to the table too. I'm just going to give itself a little trim there. Camera person would be nice, especially for you guys having to watch this. Okay, so I'll angle a little bit more so you can see what's going on. And like I said, we're just gonna come in here. You don't want to take too much off. If you see some of the lines, it's okay. You just want to get rid of the majority of the high spots there. Okay, do that to the other side. And we'll call the sides done for now, after I get this little spot cleaned up. Okay. Got my sides cleaned up, got my L cut there, and we're ready to figure out how long the back wants to be. Look at that glare. That's some bad glare. I'll go to a different table. So we have the sides cut, we have the front cut. Let's try this. Is that a better glare? Oh gosh, that's horrible too. Let's try from this side. Is that better? Yes. So let me grab the the front piece. And we'll figure out how big the back wants to be now. So what I'm going to do is, I got this set up here. So I'm gonna get a square and put a square here and put a square here like this. It's kind of awkward. I'll do it off camera and cut the board off camera. But let me just explain to you how I want to do it. So I want to make sure this is square. I want to make sure this is square. Once I know these two are square, I'm going to measure from the inside here, from the inside of the L to the inside of the L, or inside of the rabbet to the inside of the rabbet. So this is the rabbet. So we're going to measure from the inside of the rabbet to the inside of the rabbet. If you cut your back too long, your box will look like this. Cut your back too short, your box will look like this. So we want to get it as close to square as we can. And if you have someone to help you here, it's really nice. If you don't, it's kind of awkward, but it's still doable. So let me take care of that off camera, and then we'll move on to the next step.